Hey, True Believers, England teen here. Twiddles, the world twiddles. Twiddles is see-through because I've got the green screen on. And my first thought, I've watched these already. I've watched the James Gunn announcement, and my first thought was, Creature Commandos, yeah! And then immediately followed by, oh, shit. You know what? Those Comic Tom people are going to freaking ruin this. I'm looking for this book. I'm looking for the Creature Commandos #1, and now all the movie hounds are going to come out of the woodwork and make these books amazingly expensive. But we're going to go through the video, talk about all of the announcements and everything. Looking forward to it. But yeah, that was my second thought, is the freaking movie speculators, which I say straight up, it's a bum deal. Don't do the movie speculating, because it has no future. Look at what's happening now. The great correction, as people poured money in because this guy's going to be in this Marvel project and that guy's going to be in that Marvel project, and now everything's on the downslide. Let's see. I mean, now all the movie hounds will make them expensive. Exactly. And I'll tell you what, the Creature Commandos was around 80 to 150, depending on what kind of condition you could find it in, if you want a decent copy. And I'm fine with that $80 fine, very fine kind of copy. I'm good with that. But we're going to go through this. I've got the video here, and we're going to go through all of them, talk about it. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Granted, I try to keep my head on my shoulders as far as all this is concerned. I had an argument last night, as a matter of fact, about the Flash. I'm going to judge the Flash by what's on the screen, not by what Ezra Miller's been doing off screen. That being said, I do believe he needs to be in jail. Hello to Joe. Hello to Ahsoka. Let's get this thing going. I did send out the invites to the guys, but I don't know if they're up and about. There's a lot of late night people here. So if they join, they join. Even sent to Dalton. But once again, I don't know if they get up this early in the morning. Okay, Gods and Monsters is what this is being called here. Let me full screen this puppy here a little bit there. All righty, and you're not going to, there we are. Okay.
For a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story.
So basically, he wants to marvel up the DC universe. Make sure, like he's saying, he wants to make it consistent. This has been, of course, a bit of contention because it means people like Henry Cavill couldn't be in the movies, even though we love them as the characters.
And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity.
It would actually also be fun if he does DC Elseworlds. Just going to throw that out there. I've got my own ideas for what I would do, but yeah, there we go. It's 12 p.m. for Ahsoka. Yeah. For us, it's I'm 2:20 right
now. Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love, that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm...
Okay, now this I found very interesting. This I found very interesting because he says the Flash resets the DCU, and both Blue Beetle and Aquaman play off it. We were having a little argument. My thing is this. I remember when movies didn't have to connect in a universe, so you could put out an Aquaman movie that didn't have anything to do with a Superman movie, and you could enjoy it. These days, well, if it's not connected, it doesn't matter there. No, it's still a movie, and it's still a movie starring Aquaman, which is if I remember, if I'm thinking correctly, it's the only DCU to be popular enough to make the $1 billion. Just saying. It's just, it used to be like, okay, here's a movie, let's watch it on its own. But a lot of people are abandoning these next few DC movies before they're even out, based on the fact that they're not going to be attached to whatever's coming in the future, which I find to be ridiculous. I mean, it's a movie. Go freaking see it. It's a freaking comic book movie. And if you give me any of that comic book movie fatigue bullshit, I'm going to go into my freaking rant about how I had to sit through freaking 30 years of god dang romantic comedy cop buddy movies so I could get to decent comic book films. Fuck you. I'm expecting these things for 30 years. So don't give me any of that superhero fatigue bullshit. They're finally making movies for me. Shut the f up. Let me enjoy this. Okay, so anywho, let's continue.
I'm going to tell you about now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter.
Okay, this is when I went apeshit right here. Creature Commandos. When I saw this, I was like, yes! I love the Creature Commandos. I really love the Creature Commandos. I'm so freaking happy. I was disappointed when I was reading the first couple of weeks of New 52. I did give it a try before I noped out of comics. This was my favorite title. I loved the Creature Commandos. I've got the complete trade paperback of it. Love them. Love them. So when I saw this, my first was like, yeah. And then my second one was, God dang it, those Comic Tom assholes are going to screw me over. Oh, go out and get this. Now it's $5,000 to get the first issue, even though nobody gave up about the Creature Commandos up until then. Still searching for this. The number one, the first appearance, Weird War Tales 90. I always mess up the number, but I will say this, because you're mentioning it, Joe saying it's funny. They are more worried about continuity than DC Comics ever was. I wouldn't say ever was, obviously, but definitely now. Definitely now. And he even mentions in the beginning of this that he is a DC Comics fan. He loves the DC characters. Just the presence of the Creature Commandos tells me this. The announcements of the stories and of the characters that are coming through tells me that he really, really freaking loves this the DC characters, because we're not just going to get Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We're getting Creature freaking Commandos and a couple of others. We just missed the opening, Jay. That's it. This is the first movie announcement, or this is going to be an animated series, as it says on the screen here. Frankenstein Agent. Yeah, Frankenstein Agent of Shade. That was the New 52. It was so freaking underrated. Such a great story. But Dan Didio, for all the bad he did at least say that his big mistake was only allowing a comic series a certain number of issues to gain an audience. Sometimes you need to give it a little bit more. All right, let's continue here.
The first project is Creature Commandos. Yes. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. Which is exactly what we get with the What If and the Marvels. So like he says, that in that way they want to Marvel up the DC universe. Now I'm not going to do spoilers or anything, but there is something he's going to say later that I find very comforting. But I'm going to warn you, Jay. I'm going to warn you. He calls it Gods and Monsters, but like I said, I've seen this. I don't think that story is here. Next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker. And this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is
okay. How is that for a team? Because I know the general attitude of my audience towards those two shows. On one hand, it's from the creator, one of the creators of the Watchmen. On the other hand, the Doom Patrol. So I don't know how you fall among that particular crowd. I'm excited for it, just because of the Doom Patrol side. I really didn't watch the Watchmen TV show. I saw the first episode. It was okay. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else. Actually, I didn't not. It was a non-entity to me, and I figured, you know what? When all of the episodes are out, I'll watch it. But I never got back to it. It's one of those situations. But it's Doom Patrol and one of the writers from Doom Patrol and one of the writers from the Watchmen. So however it's going to fit. Now, what got me about this project is, does this image mean anything? Because there's a lot of pictures of Waller and not all of them have her handcuffed. And of course, the last time Waller was with Team Peacemaker, didn't she get her ass knocked out? No, never mind. But I'm wondering if she's going to face any kind of justice because of what she did. So anyway, let's move on.
That's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay,
that's too long. Look, I got to tell you something. And this is why I hated the fact that they got rid of all of the DC projects. I know some people are happy they canceled Batgirl and all that. I realized at a certain point, I know this is a little down, but I realized at a certain point, I've got more years behind me than more years ahead of me. I don't want to wait 2 years for any of this. I want to right now. I know I can't get it. I know that's, but I got to tell you, this is a bit of a bait and switch, because he says, and here's the beginning of the DCU, and he shows All-Star freaking Superman. And I was like, what? And then he'd start, okay, it's going to be a normal Superman movie, but still, I'm willing to go. I'd rather see Waller lead a checkmate show. That would be kind of cool. And once again, at the end, I'm going to mention a show that I would love to see. And I think James Gunn would actually, I can't see him being as excited as he seems to be here going against one of my ideas. So here we go.
Next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is
okay. I know we've got the preview right here because he went straight into it. Let's talk a little bit about the Lanterns thing. He says two things. I don't know. That's the one. This is the shaky one to me, because he says it's terrestrial space cops. And that's like, now, if there was kind of a Star Trek thing, you're going from planet to planet and solving stuff, okay. But are you stuck on Earth, even though you're space cops? That's something I'm a little bit weary about. We'll find out if it, I may be reading it wrong, but there you go. Like say the whole Green Arrow, Green Lantern thing, you know, why you help the blue skins and you help the red skins. Why not the black skins? I always wanted somebody to write in a panel, because I'm in outer space. I have more to do than just what's on Earth. You've got 1,500 freaking heroes here. Why are you giving me shit? You know, that's my thought on the Green Lanterns. They take care of the cosmic, not the terrestrial. So look, I'm willing to give everything a chance, but that's my particular thoughts on the Lantern at this point. Okay, let's move forward
to our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise.
Okay. First of all, did anybody else think when he was excited he sounds like Evil Black Cat? Is it could just be me, but I got that. I was like, wait, is Evil Black Cat James Gunn? Is that why he's not he doesn't show his face? But listen to his voice here.
Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters called Paradise Lost.
Okay, The Authority. Yeah, let's bring it on. Like I said, we are getting so freaking they're not Superman and Batman. Look, I love Superman and Batman. I would love to have seen more than just one Henry Cavill Superman movie. But to get The Authority, to get Creature Commandos right there, awesome. This is freaking awesome. Just the attempt is awesome. I'm loving the fact that we're going to at least see that. Yeah, that's what they're saying. The Authority is going to be part of the main DCU. So like I said, I'm just happy for the attempt. Let's see it. All right, then we move on to Paradise Lost, and this is a TV show.
Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
Now, one thing I'm wondering, it's called Paradise Lost, and he's very focused when he's describing this on the island itself. So I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of like a prequel where we get how they're stuck on the island, you know, the fall of the Amazons, the rise of the Amazons, and so forth and so on. That's what I'm getting off of this, and more power to them.
Introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU.
Okay. The fanboy hates the fact that they call it Brave and the Bold and not Batman and Robin, because Brave and the Bold would be a great TV show where you have, you could even make it animated, just to make it an animated TV show and have whomever you get to be Batman, voice the Batman while he's co-starring with a whole bunch of the more obscure DC heroes. Not necessarily like Airwave or something like that. It could be people we know, but just, you know, like Deadman that people know that just haven't made that big leap, right? So I think that's a missed opportunity by using that title. And that's the only part of that I really don't like. Because to me, and here's the thing, it's not so much what it's about, it's how it's about it. I see Joe Cool. I hope they don't screw it up. I think that's the sentiment all the way down the line. Every one of us. I'm excited for the announcements. I agree with you. I hope they don't screw it up. I hope everything is fine. If you're listening to him talk, especially like with things like The Authority, he sounds excited about this stuff. And that's something I think we needed in the DCU. I have no doubt Kevin Feige is excited, or at least was excited, about taking the reins of Marvel and what can we do and what can we do. Oh, and I'm glad to have this here. I don't want a guy, in spite of all the freaking dumbasses on Twitter, I don't want a guy who thinks, you know what, maybe I should have Batman prison raped, which was something that Zack Snyder said. You know, I want somebody who actually is who loves the DC characters as much as I do. All right, let's continue.
Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series.
Okay, so we're going to get a TV show starring Booster Gold. I'm pretty sure at some point in time they're going to have Blue Beetle and Booster Gold come together. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I like the way he mentions it's imposter. The one problem I would have with that is that Booster Gold is not a character who doubts himself. If anything, he's more overconfident than underconfident about his abilities. So I don't know if imposter syndrome, I mean, he understands that he stole the technology, but I would almost play it like he stole it because he deserves it, at least in his head. But I'm good. I'm so far so good. All right, let's continue.
One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now,
okay, I know immediately everybody hears the words Tom and King put together, and it's like, yeah, this series wasn't bad, but he's going to be remaking True Grit. If this is a direct remake from comic to screen, it is True Grit with Supergirl. I kid you not. I freaking kid you not. That's what this is.
Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character. And
then we get to this. But first, one more thing. I actually like this take on Supergirl. If you've ever read like the Golden Age story, Supergirl comes out and she's immediately submissive. It was Silver Age, by the way. And I understand this take on Supergirl. If she watched her people die, then yeah, she would have a little bit more than just, oh, okay, Superman, tell me what to do next.
Brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway,
Okay. I love the fact that he said Swamp Thing will be a horror film. That, my friends, is very exciting to me. I like that. If you guys have not yet seen the Swamp Thing TV show, I believe it's on HBO Max right now. It is worth getting actually all the DC movies are worth getting HBO Max for. There's a ton of content on there, and definitely a lot of it's pretty damn good. But I'm glad that they're making Swamp Thing a horror story. I want them to kind of bring back the tone that the first, say, 20 issues of the Alan Moore run had. All right, I want to listen to these last comments here, and then we'll talk about it as a whole.
Those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Okay, there you go. Now that really had me excited. And I'll tell you why. I like the Marvel movies for the most part. But I have noticed since Guardians of the Galaxy, they really have started to look and feel homogenized. They're the same. They just feel like the same movie. And that might be why people are getting fatigued is because if you have everything the same color palette, if you have everything the same tone, it seems like it's the same movie. So instead of watching 20 individuals, you're watching basically however many hours worth of the same film. What he said at the end of that has me excited, because he said the writers and the directors, they all have their own vision of what these characters can be. Now, some people may see that as, well, it's going to be eclectic and it's going to be a mess because it's going to be all over the place. I see it as, it's saying, he's saying that every film is going to be an individual film that's going to tie into each other. And to me, that's what the beginning of the Marvel Universe was. If you watch Iron Man, and then the Incredible Hulk, and then Captain America and Thor, they all felt like their own monster, like their own movies. And that carried to, once again, to me, that carried all the way up to Guardians of the Galaxy. After Guardians of the Galaxy, it really does feel more homogenized. Entertaining still. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I hate the Marvel Universe. Nope, that was never me. But it did feel homogenized. If James Gunn is true to what he just said, I think it's going to be, each project feels like its own. It's going to be its own creature, the way it should be, the way the comics play out. You know, I just finished reading No Man's Land again. And I mentioned that No Man's Land really doesn't work in a greater DCU. It works if Batman's on his own, because you have characters that can fix it quick. Oh, the buildings fell down. That one looks like it's about to fall. Okay, Superman comes and clears it out. The Flash can help clear the debris. They can all, maybe even Zatanna comes in and leads rats and all the animals out, so it doesn't bother the people. They can clean up Gotham, right? And we do have comics like that. Comics are, they go off to their own individual series until it's time to team up and do the big crossover and all that kind of stuff. And I would love for the movies to have that same feel and same tone. Michael Hart saying, seems like some fresh ideas here. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling now. I was worried, just like everybody else, as we're seeing everything canceled. And it's like, God dang it, God dang it, God dang it. And then now I'm excited again. What put me more excited about the upcoming projects than anything else is the fact that he seems excited about the upcoming projects. And I think that's paramount. If you're going to be the person who's in charge of all this, you've got to love what you do. But there you go. All righty, kids. I don't know what else to say about it. Hopefully it's as good as he's mentioning. I am looking forward to the Shazam movie. I'm looking forward to the Flash, and I'm looking forward to Aquaman. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure you're going to get all looks like trash from others. So, weigh in. Whatever you feel, whatever you think. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Is this, or are you just like taking it? Well, okay, that looks like a good idea, because this is really how I feel. I'm excited for it, but I'm going to wait until everything's out to really put my 2 cents in, right? Joe saying, definitely want the DCU to be their own thing. Green Lanterns is a space cop, Wonder Woman is a mythical adventure, etc., etc. Yeah, just like in the comics, when it's done well. And that might be something that's not at the top of your mind, because it's been a long time since modern comics have been done well. Just saying. Okay, anyway, guys, there you go. Those are my thoughts on it. Thanks for hanging around for a little bit while we went through that. Don't forget to do all the clickings and the likings and all that kind of stuff. And if you have anything to mention, by all means, leave it in the comments below. Thank you. And thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good day, kids. Have fun.